going up.
So the question is, what can you actually do to facilitate business?
I can start on that. What I've been advocating for is the creation of jobs, okay? And the jobs that I'm focused on are the solar industry and developing manufacturing and that types of things. We need to tap into that market. There's not only government plays a key role in this, is because they can take and utilize those to save us money. Okay, they can, like St. Louis County is a classic example. They've started to tap into, they've put solar panels up on their parking garage, they've done several things up in the range. Government entities can start to utilize some of that. By them doing that, then you start creating a demand. They can be buying the stuff, building manufacturing businesses. I would love to see, you know, panels on top of all the buildings down in the West End. All the businesses down there, that would be awesome, starting to generate energy. And I think those are the ways we do, by creating jobs. And you increase income and you create cash flow across the board.
Generally speaking, economists will tell you that the greatest engine of job growth are the small businesses that you were talking about. I mean, if you want to have a new honeymoon, you need to help it when it's a small, struggling business. Don't overburden it with too many regulations. Don't foul up a good idea. So I would say that your point about taxing small businesses, and probably property taxes are a bigger problem for a lot of them than income taxes, should be met with the realization that we in this nation have become a nation that has a much bigger spread between people who are considered wealthy in the past, going back to Andy's question, who is wealthy, and people who are poor. When I was a little kid, coming from a very middle-class family, my thought was, geez, my mother told me all about how the poor kings of medieval Europe may have been kings, but they lived in drafty old dungeons and ate rotten food without spices in it. And I thought, well, I'm rich. And of course, I was just a middle-class kid in the 1950s. So in a lot of ways, we have a great deal of wealth, but that wealth has spread. And if you take a look at the income and the ownership of the nation as a whole, there are an awful lot of wealth just in the top couple of percent of people. Now, I don't believe that all of future taxation should come from them, because I don't believe in bleeding people who have been successful, but we have to realize that going down to people who probably earn $100,000, that if you want to take care of the budget problems and you want to keep taking care of needs that the society says have to be met, you want to consider spreading out that burden of taxation. And to the extent that we do that and rely less on taxing small businesses so that they can get a toehold and succeed, that's probably where we need to go.
Gary?
I think part of that is, you know, if we're looking for stimulus dollars and whatnot, that's not going to do it. Part of it is government policy and how that's directed. And I think the state needs to take a look, because part of how to solve this is to grow our economy. So we need to look at it. Just for example, in the city of Duluth, one of the things I've advocated is turning the steam plant into biomass, because it could create a market for a wood chip or pellet plant. So it's based on a policy, because the county's going green. So that would open a market. So some of that is how you do that. And some of it is where you target those monies. If we had a policy saying buildings needed to be energy efficient, that would create thousands of jobs in the private sector to make those buildings more energy efficient. So that's some of the ways you do that, and it doesn't cost you a dime. It's just a change of policy.
Cost the business owner a lot of money.
I'm just talking in the form of taxes. It doesn't cost.
Roger?
Well, I mean, to come back directly to Dale's question, we had a conversation yesterday about weakened organizations. Well, Minnesota was a weakened organization coming into this recession. You know, if you remember back, we had a multi-billion-dollar deficit, and we spent the tobacco settlement to balance the budget. 2 years later, we had a multi-billion-dollar deficit. We did a health impact fee to balance the budget. So we were coming into this recession not in good shape. The recession certainly hasn't helped. But I think, I mean, two things. The government doesn't grow the economy, and the government doesn't create jobs. We partner with businesses to do that. And I think DEED has not done a very good job, surprisingly, under Republican administration. I've heard from our local folks that have been working on economic development that sometimes they've had to pull tooth and nail, you know, to get Commissioner McElroy to go look at wind energy, when it's a multiplier of an investment we've already made, in this case with the port. and the rail and the road infrastructure. So I think we need to do a much tighter job on that. And I think secondly, we focus around the core industries that we already do well. And it's one of the reasons, as you pointed out, we've done better in this recession than the metro area and other parts of the state, because we figured out we have core industries in aviation, healthcare, higher education, tourism, and the port. And we've invested around those, and we've tried to, and we've not been as successful, I think, as we need to, around building the secondary and tertiary businesses that go along with it. But we just can't be everything to everyone anymore, and we need to focus our policy and investment.